My name is Savannah Johnston. Thank you for joining me on my podcast channel, Bennett Buzz. It's so good to have you here this afternoon. And also, I have with me the creator and host of her very own podcast channel called Sisterhood Stories. And her name is Munera Morris. How are you today, Munera?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And since today we are going to be talking about sisterhood, talking about Bennett, the fact that I am one of the oldest alumni at Bennett. I was at Bennett from 1979 to 1982. And Munera is currently, what is your classification, Munera?
I'm currently a sophomore here at Bennett College, and I'm also honored to be Miss Sophomore here at Bennett College.
Wonderful! Congratulations!
Thank you.
That's a wonderful honor. It really is. Okay, I want to ask you though. Being a part of the dynamics of Bennett. Taking a leadership role. Um, how has attending an all Black women's college shaped your cultural identity?
I would say in high school, I was actually homeschooled. So coming here, being around all women, coming to an
Mhm,
HBCU has
mhm,
definitely been a interesting adjustment for me.
mhm,
In my opinion, I feel like I've adjusted well. But I've learned a lot of new things being here.
great, great. And are you a first generation Bennett Bell, or
Yes,
some you are?
yes, I'm a first
Wonderful.
generation
All
Bennett Bell.
right. Awesome. Awesome. Um, what does the legacy of Bennett College mean to you personally?
I would say me being Miss Sophomore and knowing that like when I graduate and one day if I have kids and knowing that maybe one day my
Mhm.
daughter could come here, the legacy is one thing that you kind of have to create for your own self and what you
That's
see
correct. Yeah, I
for
agree.
yourself and future individuals.
Okay. What about the sisterhood on campus? Can you share a moment where you felt a strong sense of sisterhood since you've been on campus, and since you have been there now, for 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what have you sensed, or has there been a sense of sisterhood that you have seen on the campus?
Oh yes, most definitely. I would definitely say when I first came here during Welcome Week my freshman year, I've definitely
Uh,
felt the sense of sisterhood. I've met so many great sisters and even
Wonderful.
faculty and staff. They definitely welcomed me coming in.
That is great. That is great. Yeah, and I was the same way. It was an adjustment to me as well because I was a first generation
Mm-hmm.
Bennett Bell, but my mother, who was my inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
she went to Shaw University in
Oh wow.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Go Bears! And she inspired her six children to want to be better, and
Mm-hmm.
want to pursue an education.
Mm-hmm.
She always was reading books.
Mm-hmm.
She always had a book in her hand. And so she taught us to love school. And I guess that's why I turned out to be such a nerd and wanted to do and complete what I started. So I am very glad to be a Bennett Bell. Um, no one can take that from me, and I won't allow them to.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a it was wonderful. It was wonderful for me. Even coming in a semester behind
Mm-hmm.
my classmates, um, I was determined to catch up with my class. So I worked my butt off
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that the semester that I missed, that I did what that was necessary to, to catch up with my class. And
Yes.
so I studied and I worked, and they allowed me to be able to do it. And by the end of my freshman year, going into my sophomore year, I was all caught up with my other Bell sisters.
Mhm.
So it's all what you make it and all what how you want it to be.
Mhm.
Um, that was just important to me to to be with my class and not a semester behind.
Yes.
So I didn't have to do it, but I chose to do it. But
Mhm.
yeah, so that was a challenge, but I did it.
And
I did it.
I'm glad the sisterhood was still present, even even if you was a semester behind.
Absolutely. I mean, I met so many wonderful friends and even friends right today that on social media or on the phone, cell phone, I'm still in contact with.
Mhm.
And so that's a blessing within itself.
Mhm.
Uh, a question though for you:
Yes.
have you taken on any leadership roles? And I know you have, but if you don't mind, could you expound for me, the leadership roles, and what it entails, like being Miss Sophomore? Can you tell me about being a leader on campus?
I would say when I first got here my freshman year, I already started taking on leadership roles. I was giving tours to potential students, which was
Wow.
which definitely helped me get out my shell because when I first came here, I was very shy, a very
Yeah.
shy
Oh.
individual. So
Mm-hmm.
that helped me. And then that also even encouraged me to run for Miss Sophomore because I never thought that I would go for like a class queen position. So
Wow.
I've surprised myself more than I think anybody else. But so being a sophomore, I've enjoyed it so far. I'm getting ready for coronation, and I was elected
Mm.
by my peers,
Yes.
which was definitely a great honor for
Yes.
me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I applaud you for that because
Thank
it's not
you.
easy coming out of your shell,
Mm-hmm.
especially being homeschooled. I understand that
Yes.
because my grandson was homeschooled, but he came to me and said, "Mom, he called me mom because I had him ever since he was weeks old,
Mm-hmm.
and so I raised him as my own, my husband and I, and he was homeschooled,
Oh,
but
wow.
he got to the point where he said." Mama, I need to be interacting
Mm-hmm.
with with other people, with classmates instead
Mm-hmm.
of being online. And come to find out, he enjoyed it better
Mm-hmm.
than being online. And so that's what we did. We took him from doing from homeschooling to public school, and he
Mm-hmm.
really excelled.
Wow.
So I'm glad we did that because he was in his shell too, but
Mm-hmm.
not anymore because these little girls and blew his mind telling him how cute he is because he all 6 feet tall and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Got a birthday coming up Friday, 18 years old.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday to him.
Thank you. I can't even believe it, Munera. I tell you, 18 years have gone past. Oh, it's gone so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so proud of him. He wants to attend Georgia Tech.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
in computer science or what's the cybersecurity?
Oh, cybersecurity.
Yeah, because those are
Mm-hmm.
um, big fields right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he wants to do because he's very good with computers. Very good. I'm very proud of him. Um, how do you feel like the academic environment at Bennett support your goals and your ambitions?
I would say coming here to Bennett and their academics is definitely unique than
Hmm.
I've seen for other schools. Definitely with the mini masters and the class gap periods.
Hmm.
I would say that for some people might like the gap periods and some might not. I would say for me, I like them in a way, but when it comes to scheduling my classes and kind of just me time, it can get definitely rough.
Yeah.
And I know that when you first came here, I know that they didn't have that. So, how would you say how would you say that you have adjusted to the mini masters and the gap periods, and how do they differ from when you first came here until today?
Oh, oh my gosh. I never heard of mini masters.
Mm.
And I am actually very thankful um, for the president. Maybe this is something that she implemented,
Yes.
to spearhead. I am very glad she did that because I believe that, with students can be more engaged and more focused
Mm-hmm.
from, 14 weeks or, as a compared to seven weeks.
Yes.
That is something that was never discussed when I was at Bennett. You went the whole 14 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
nonstop. And so the dichotomy is definitely different
Mm-hmm.
because when I was in school, there was an average of women dropping out
Wow.
of school. That was very disconcerting. I said, and but no one even thought about doing anything or implementing anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I applaud um, Bennett for doing this and giving women an opportunity to do what they have to do, in 7 weeks' time, and to be able to go on to something else because it keeps your mind fresh. It keeps you want to go on.
Yes.
I like this because I just think about it. To me, if I feel like we just started this class,
Mm-hmm.
and next week is
We're
going to be
done.
it,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm like kind of sad though,
Mm-hmm.
because I love this class because I have learned so much in such a short span of time.
Yeah.
So I just find it very unique.
Mm-hmm.
I am all for it. And so I am glad to be a part of it.
That's great. Do you believe if they introduced this concept of like mini masters back when you first came, do you think that would have helped with the retention rate of your
I
peers?
do. I do. Because I know a couple of my Bennett sisters that left
Mm-hmm.
um, because they couldn't stay focused.
Yeah.
They just decided, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I understood that, but it also broke my heart because you want to be able to hold out and do, if you're spending the money to come here or getting the Pell Grants or whatever,
Yes.
try to hold out. But they couldn't
Mm-hmm.
because they just couldn't deal with how long it took.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't engaged in class. They was just there being just a body
Mm-hmm.
and nothing going in, wasn't in taking in anything because they didn't want to be
Yeah.
there, and so it would have made
Mm-hmm.
such a difference in the retention rate if we had had this 40 some years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think it really would have made a difference. Like I said, the retention rate was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They was leaving left and right. And so yeah, I don't that this concept I think um, came from the president because she understood the need for it, and I'm glad she did it. And the retention rate would have been so much better than it was back in my day.
Okay, talking about peers, I'm 19 now. How is 19-year-olds now different from back then?
Oh, great question. Great question. Um, Back then, 19-year-olds were more determined, I think um, more prepared, and came with came to Bennett with a purpose and a drive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I saw that on a daily basis. Um, the helpfulness. I mean, I came in, like I said, one semester behind,
Mm-hmm.
and how they rallied around me to help me, um, to do, to be, for me to feel part of Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
Jones Hall was where I was at, and it got to the point I used to do hair
Wow.
when I was at Jones Hall. And my other Bell sisters in Jones Hall would come to me, and I started doing their hair. I would wash their hair,
Mm-hmm.
condition their hair, style their hair, however they want it. And I just about everybody in Jones Hall came to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I came in late,
Wow.
and that really warmed my heart. Um, I don't know. It seems like what just slightly what I'm seeing, because, like I said, I'm not on campus physically, but it feels different because I don't know if the sisterhood is the same as it was when I was 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly believe there is a dichotomy.
And what would
Um,
that dichotomy be?
I think that the dichotomy is, like I said, the level of determination and the focus
Mm-hmm.
of women. um, 40 years ago, it was 19, as opposed to maybe now, because now they have made it so lackadaisical for a lot of, you know, young people now,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't, you know, feel a need, or necessary to, to do what they need to do,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to when I was in school, because like I said, we came with a purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and we was determined to do what we had to do. Go to the library, have study groups, um, just eat together, and talk
Yes.
about, especially if they was, in different, in the same class. We talked. What can we do to better ourselves in class?
Mm-hmm.
It was such a camaraderie, and so I don't know if the same level of that is going on today with 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't get that feeling. So I may be wrong. I don't know,
And I
but
agree because I would say that a lot of students around like my peers, they're definitely more laid back about their college career. I would say
mhm,
that
mhm,
a lot of them don't have much pressure and not really pressuring themselves to do great.
mhm,
So
uh-huh.
I completely agree with what you're saying.
Oh wow, oh wow. Coming from you, that's fantastic. I'm just, I don't know. I would think that I would thought you would say no, no. We got okay, okay. Well, it is what it is. But you sound like you got what you needed, because you were very articulate,
Thank you.
and I love that. I love that, because I was an English major when I was in college, because I
Mhm.
was so prepared when I got here because of my high school training
Mhm.
in English. My Mrs. Bartholomew, I will never forget her as long as I live. She was one of my English teachers that I loved, and she loved me.
Mhm.
And we did the Canterbury Tales
Mhm.
by Jeffrey Chaucer. What was his name? Jeffrey Chaucer, so something like that. But anyway, we did the Canterbury Tales, and what she did is she taught us the first 19 lines of the Canterbury Tales in Middle English or Old English.
Oh wow, that's
You know, and
dedication.
yeah, and you know what? When I got here, and Dr. Lynn Sattler was head of the humanities department, and when they heard about this, um, young woman who came in so, so prepared in English.
Mm-hmm.
They had me going to all of the English classes, reciting uh, the Canterbury Tales,
Mm-hmm.
the first 19 lines. And it's some, you know, how you get something in your head and you've done it for so long that it sticks with you.
Yes.
And that's the way, you know, I was with that. And they were very impressed. The, you know, the teachers in that department was very impressed. And so for freshmen that was coming in, um, or was getting ready to come in, um, they wanted me to teach like a computer class, or you know, to help the new ones that was coming in. So I did that for a semester when I was at Bennett, and I enjoyed that thoroughly because Dr. Sadler said, unfortunately, sometimes you know, freshmen come in and their English skills of writing
Mm-hmm.
wasn't up to par.
Yeah.
And she said, you know, mine was, and so I got to work and doing what I had to do to help in any way I could. I just love being at Bennett so much. It was a joy for me
Mm-hmm.
coming from coming from North Carolina, from a small town called Townsville, North Carolina, you know, and then into Henderson, which was a part of Townsville.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wasn't a whole lot to do except go outside and, you know, and play, you know, football, catch a football, or, you know, kick a ball, or, you know, something like that. It wasn't the technology that the young people have today.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big difference. It's a big difference all around. Um, but you know, when I think back on my time at Bennett, it's something that will be with me for the rest of my life. I will
Mm-hmm.
never forget it.
I want to say thank you for giving me a look into the past. I know that Bennett has come a long way from when you first went and
Yes,
from
it
now
has.
today. So I want to
Hmm.
say thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for being here, and thank you for being a part of this, Miss Sophomore. I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate everyone for listening to Bennett Buzz. My name is Savannah Johnson, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.